What family tradition should forever be forgotten? The disappointment dinner. Every Christmas, my father's family would host what they called the annual year in review. Sounds innocent enough. It wasn't. After the main meal, each family member had to stand while everyone else listed their failures from the year. Not achievements, specifically failures, mistakes, and disappointments. It was supposedly to keep us humble and motivated for the new year. My grandfather started it in the 1960s, apparently believing public humiliation built character. By the time I was old enough to participate, it had evolved into something crueler. Age didn't matter. I was 7 the first time I had to stand there while my aunts, uncles, and cousins listed everything I'd done wrong. Bad grades, not making the baseball team, crying at my grandmother's funeral, all fair game. The adults were brutal to each other. Divorces, bankruptcies, weight gain, infertility, nothing was off limits. My Uncle Carl's turn in 2015 was the worst I witnessed. His wife had left him, he'd lost his job, and his son had been arrested. The family spent 40 minutes dissecting every bad decision he'd made since high school that led to this inevitable outcome. He tried to leave. My grandfather blocked the door, said, "Running away is what got you here, Carl." Carl sat back down and took it. Later that night, he had a heart attack. The stress, his doctor said, had been building for years. Even in the hospital, my grandfather called it convenient timing and suggested Carl had faked it to avoid finishing his turn. The tradition destroyed people. My cousin Sarah developed an eating disorder after years of having her weight discussed. My brother became a pathological overachiever, terrified of having anything negative to report. My Aunt Linda simply stopped coming, and the family branded her too weak for honesty. I broke it in 2018. When my turn came, instead of standing for my roasting, I pulled out my laptop and presented a PowerPoint. The psychological damage of ritualized humiliation. A family case study. Slide by slide, I documented the therapy bills, the anxiety medications, the divorces, the estrangements, the eating disorders, the depression diagnoses, all traceable to this tradition. I had quotes from family therapists about toxic dynamics, statistics about public humiliation and suicide rates. This tradition hasn't motivated anyone, I said. It's created 3 generations of people who hate themselves and each other. Grandpa's character building gave Uncle Carl a heart attack, Sarah an eating disorder, and me panic attacks that started when I was 7. My grandfather stood up, furious. "You ungrateful, page 12, I interrupted, clicking to a slide of his business records. "Speaking of disappointments, should we discuss the tax fraud from 1987? Or Grandma's visit to her sister that was actually rehab? Since we're being honest, the room exploded. Years of buried resentments came pouring out. My grandmother started crying, admitting she'd hated the tradition for 50 years, but was too scared to say anything. My aunt revealed she'd been in therapy specifically to deal with these dinners. My brother admitted he'd been planning to skip Christmas forever, rather than endure another one. My grandfather tried to restore order, insisting this was weakness and snowflake mentality. My grandmother stood up, first time I'd ever seen her challenge him. "Frank, I've watched you destroy our children and grandchildren with this sadistic ritual for decades. It ends now, or I end this marriage." They divorced 8 months later. She's happier at 82 than she ever was in 60 years of marriage. The family split, half stuck with my grandfather and his traditional values. The other half started having actual pleasant Christmases, where we celebrate achievements and support each other through failures privately, with compassion. My grandfather died last year, bitter and mostly alone. At his funeral, someone suggested doing one last disappointment dinner in his honor. His biggest disappointment, my grandmother said loudly, was that he thought cruelty was strength and kindness was weakness. Let's bury that tradition with him. We did. This Christmas will be our 5th without the disappointment dinner. My cousin Sarah ate a full meal without crying. Uncle Carl's new wife couldn't understand why we were all so emotional about having a normal, pleasant holiday. Some traditions deserve to die. This one should have been strangled in its crib. 3 generations of trauma because one man thought shame was a motivational tool. The new tradition? We go around saying what we're proud of in ourselves and each other. It's revolutionary how much healthier a family becomes when you build people up instead of tearing them down.